Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited. We have an amazing guest, Susan Shatzer, and we have an amazing audience for the first time for this podcast. Yay! So we're looking forward to that. We have amazing people here to share this with us. And so it's an exciting time. And I'm just so grateful. I can feel the heart space here, and it's off the charts. So I'm looking forward to Susan is bringing in the energy already. I could feel it. I feel the incredible energy she brings in. Hi, Susan. How are you?
Good. How are you, Daniel? Thank you so much for the invitation to come play in your podcast playground.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad to have you here. I'm going to dive right in to share more about you so people know. Now, Susan Shatzer is known as a global consciousness revolutionary in service to humanity. She is a pattern interrupter who shifts and uplifts our reality by shaking loose humanity's insanities. Oh, we could use a lot of that. Yes, Susan's prime directive and biggest stand is to raise the vibrational frequency of the planet. She's an expert in producing global content which empowers viewers and remembering their sovereign birthright of abundance to both love and gratitude. Susan is a 12-time #1 international best-selling author, founder of the High Vibe Tribe, and the executive producer and host of the Webby nominated global TV series, Unlocking Your Limitless Life with Susan Shatzer. So Susan, I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you so much. And every day,
Yeah.
what if
Awesome.
today is the day and now is the time?
That's right. It's always now. It is. And it's always amazing. And so today we're going to be talking about 3 ways to know for sure your life isn't falling apart, but it's falling into place. And isn't that such a, I mean, with whatever, especially with the conversation going on globally now, right? The end of the world's coming, and especially with presidential elections in the States, if that one gets in, we're dead. If that one gets in, we're dead, like either side, like whatever you believe. But like, COVID, whatever, everything, like racial issues, there's so much. And then individually, people are going through a lot of sense of intensity or crisis in some cases. So there's a lot going on. So I think it's such a perfect thing for us to focus on. And the cool thing with Susan is not only things she'll say, but the energy she's transmitting throughout the interview is helping you to fall in that state of grace. So we're grateful for that, Susan.
You are so welcome. It is truly my honor to honor all of you. Thank you.
So I wanted to start by just getting to know more about you, so our audience can learn. You shared your amazing story in depth with me, and can you tell us more about what took you on this path? You work with energy, and you do all kinds of different things, really. But your big thing that excites me that you do, especially the most, is how you work with energy. So can you tell us a little bit about what got you into working with energy?
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. And I'm sure my story is, not unlike many of your audience and those that are watching and people who will be watching and listening in the future. Your life comes to like a full stop. Remember that moment where you're like, you know what? Do I stay or do I go? I'm not really sure that being here is all that much fun. Like the little girl dream and the little boy dreams that we had really are not the way our life is playing out. And so mine came to a full stop, and it was one of those moments where it was a come to Jesus, like on my knees, like, God, you have to change this. Like, this has to change now. Like, I cannot continue like this. Like, you have to open a door, crack a window, show me some sunlight, because I am deep in the hole. And, this is a pivotal moment for me. And what happened was I had the idea to start Google searching. And this was, over 18 years ago. And so back then, everything was audio. We didn't really even have video then. So it was blog talk radio and telecalls and audios and SoundClouds and things like that. So I started to pay attention to things that made sense to me, but also challenged my beliefs. Like, you know, there were things that people would say and I'd be like, well, wait a minute. I'm like, isn't it always like this? You know, especially with religion, education, athletics, government, politics, like you name it. And what I discovered was where science, Daniel, meets awareness. And so it was the awarenesses that I was getting through tons of mentors. And I know you've had two of mine on your show before, Mary Morris, Sonia Choquette, like blessings in honor of those ladies. And thank you for paving the way for me to be here today with you, Daniel. Because it's a life-changing moment when you get to the point where you're like, you know, like now is the time. And that is why that's one of our taglines for the show is like, what if today is the day and now is the time? Because the way we are, the way we've been living, you know, how it is like, doesn't have to be this way. And that was huge for me to have permission to change things.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I mean, you've told me about, I mean, you used to be a dancer at Disney World, right?
Yes.
That's amazing. And so I was kind of wondering, I mean, to me, it's just all makes sense, right? You've got this magic energy. People associate Disney with magic. So like, of course you would have done that. So like, it's just the magic, right? And so, but then, I mean, you talked in general about like hitting that point where you just couldn't take it anymore and you just didn't, things have to change. What was going on in your life at that time without getting every last detail, but just give us an idea so that we know more about the kind of challenge you faced that other people maybe could hear their challenge that they're going through.
Yeah, absolutely. I, gave birth, and it was 8 months after my son was born that I was diagnosed with a chronic illness. And it's not one of those that you're supposed to get over from. It's something that's supposed to progress and get progressively worse. And so it was one of those where they're like, okay, look, we need you in the hospital. And I'm like, look, I'm breastfeeding. You know, like there's no hospital for me. Like what's happening? And I realized at that point on that day, and it was pretty like, you know how you talk about like a death of the soul, the dark night of the soul. So like everything died that day for me. And it was so interesting because when the doctor called me to say, hey, you have this, I was like, okay, let me get a pen and write that down. So I started writing it down. Can you spell that for me? So he's spelling it out for me. And I said, okay, let me give you the name of my pharmacy. And, you know, you could just call it in the script. Just let me know. I'll go pick it up, you know, whatever it is. Like I had no concept of like the information I was receiving. Like it was just went right over my head. And then when it finally sunk in, I was like, holy cow, like this is a really big deal. This is not go get an antibiotic at your pharmacy. This is something that's gonna change the rest of your life. And it was at that point I realized I was in an abusive marriage. My closest family lived 8 states away. You know, I have an 8-month-old and my life just came to a full stop.
Wow. 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 And it feels like it's just like it was a surprise, like, right? It's not like, oh, I saw this coming. I saw like I was going to run into these challenges. Like there was signs, maybe there's some, right? But like, you know, you had no clue. You probably felt like things were going along pretty well with your life or okay, right? All of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I can't believe like I got this, I got health issues. I thought I knew, you know, my spouse, I thought I knew my husband. I'm totally like, it's a totally mind blowing, right? And a lot of people are going through that right now. Like, I thought like the world was like this, and now I'm beginning to understand it's like this, and it's shocking to people. And I mean, what helped you to move through that? Like just the shock of it all? Because I'm guessing you were shocked. I mean, it sounds pretty shocking.
Oh yeah, it was one of those things where the carpet's pulled right out from under you. You know, your foundation that on just was crumbling apart. Had no idea how I was gonna like make it to the next day, you know, really. And, you know, my parents were very supportive. They showed up, they were here. And what it allowed me to do is, you know, working through the process, those first couple of years, it was one of those things where, you know, my husband at the time was like, look, I'm out. You know, this is not what I signed up for. You know, I can't do this. And, you know, being a parent wasn't, you know, what I thought it was going to be. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So tons of judgment and projections were like thrown at both of us. Like for me, it was like, how dare you get sick? You know, like, you know, how could you do that to our son? You know, and on my side, it was like, look, till death do you part, and in sickness and in health, and both sides were Catholic. And it was one of those things where like divorce wasn't an option. And, you know, it just kind of snowballed. And so there was a lot of anger, rage, fury, you know, that was happening. And he walked before my son turned 2. And at that point, it was like, you know, healing had to happen, you know, moving forward. So one of my mentors, Daniel, reached out to me and said, you know, Susan, if this is what you've been asking for. I was like, whoosh, right? I just cut him off of that. I was like, what do you mean? Who would ask for a chronic illness? Who would ask for a lifetime of XYZ? And it really, like, I couldn't say yes and I couldn't say no. It was so incredible that, you know, I had to sit back and sit down and sit in with myself and do some inner work. Like, you know, wait a minute. I'm like, okay, so did I really not realize this was an abusive relationship? I'm like, okay, maybe you did, but you weren't willing to like call it out. And yeah, you've been kind of circling around it. And like, look at how amazing you are, because you created, you know, something that he couldn't handle, which was an illness. And when you're sick, guess you can't get judged for it. You know, if you're sick, you're sick, right? So in like a very like weird way, and people go, you're crazy. I'm like, I know it's fun. You should come play in my world. You know, it was one of those things that you just kind of took a look at and said, wait a minute, you know, how powerful is that? You know what I mean? Like, I created it. And this is where science meets awareness. Because the quantum field, quantum theory teaches us that particles act randomly until an observer is present. So guess who's observing our realities?
Mm-hmm.
We're observing our realities. And so we are actually impacting our realities based on our thoughts. Because science also tells us that thoughts create things, and thoughts are molecules, thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and every molecule is consciousness. So guess what? Even our subconscious and unconscious is also contributing to our reality. And doing tons of research from that day forward, that really allowed me to like step into a different possibility for myself and my body, and my son. And I have to tell you that, surprisingly enough, it was the moment where that same mentor reached out to me and said, you know, would you be willing to ask what's right about this you're not getting? Mm-hmm. And in asking that, Daniel, I got the awareness. It was like a bolt of lightning that, you know, that is exactly, you know, what was right about it was that I could not be the parent that I truly wanted to be if he ended up getting diagnosed with narcissism and being a psychopath. So you can imagine the dynamics of all that. And I wouldn't have been able to be the parent I wanted to be. And recently, my son's 18th birthday, we were chatting. He said, you know, I don't think I'd be the man I am today if dad was still in our life. And it was just this like gratefulness and thankfulness that just filled me, you know, to the point where I was crying. And I was like, and I've told him, you know, thank you so much for walking out. Thank you so much for just leaving us. You know, thank you so much for abandoning us and just, you know, letting everything go, because, you know, it really was, you know, what I required.
Yeah, I mean, that is what's incredible. I think about the challenges people go through and the ones I've been through. It's, you know, if you're not that awake to these things, like, oh, this is actually trying to bless you and all this. Well, when you go through it, a lot of times, you know, we're like, no, this can't possibly be good, right? We go through all that stuff. but it's what I feel like, yeah, when we can realize that maybe this is exactly what you've been asking for, when you came to that realization, when you start realizing that as a infinite being, as a soul, right, in this path, that we've actually like we're ordering this stuff up, and we judge it from a human perspective, right? But it's that's the thing that's so freeing. So you realize like there really is just love, and there really is just this awareness there, and then we're just in this density and we're just freaking out, and like it's really like the universe or source or whatever you want to call it, like trying to give us exactly what we're wanting, and it is right. And then but when we can allow ourselves to relax and then just let ourselves just experience the blessing that is in it and on the other side as well, like the part where we're like the human part's like, we this is the good stuff, right? Well, like we can let all that unfold. It's just it is amazing. And I feel like that is such a huge breakthrough. I mean, how is it like that is not an easy thing for people to do, because they'll be like, I've been dealing with this for years, and then I think like I'm making progress, and then it gets worse or whatever. How do you help people with that, Susan? That's what comes up to me, because I know some people really struggle with that. I mean, we all struggle with it to some degree, but people who maybe don't have the tools or the ways of navigating through this stuff, how can you help them like when they're dealing with really tough situations? Maybe we can, ask some people here on the call too. I mean, on the some of the participants here to jump in and see if they want to share something with us. But how do you help people with that?
Yeah, that is a great question. So what I've discovered is we've actually, right, chosen these experiences before we got here. So isn't that interesting? And, people say, why, like, why did we choose this? Why did I pick this? Well, it's time. It's our soul's evolution. Our spirit, our soul, is looking to have all of the human experiences that it can have in order to grow. And the growth is leading us to be in full frequency, our vibrational frequency, our field, in love and gratitude. So we pick the players in our game. So we agree to treat them a certain way. So they have experiences that they're looking to have in a lifetime. And we agree to receive things on our end, experiences, people, relationships, work, trauma, drama, everything. And it's a game that we're playing. And when you are able to sit back and just go, okay, here's my game board and I'm throwing it up in the air, all the pieces are flying, and you're grateful for everyone. It's like, look, you did a great job. Like, I am so thankful that you showed up and you abused me and you treated me and you fired me. And, my car was repoed and it is when you're able to be in that stance of gratitude for what comes out of it that you can supersede the low vibrational frequencies. And so I love to give examples like Amber Alert that we have today. If it wasn't that Amber agreed, and this is hard for people to kind of grasp around, but we agree to have things happen to us in order to help evolution and to help the consciousness as a whole on the planet. And so Amber, with Amber Alert, she agreed before she got here in the body that she would, be abducted and be, taken across country in the car and all that kind of stuff. And then because she picked her mom, and her mom was the one that put forth the new legislation that actually had the banners up on all the roads, and more children are found now, because of that being enacted into law. So it's huge when you're able to step back and go, hey, wait a minute, what if everything that's happened to us, we've already planned to have happen? But we're not taught that, Daniel. We're taught, and I put air quotes around it, that everything happens to you, that you aren't the one that's creating it. And the key to getting out of it is to step back and go, okay, like, how cool is that, right? Like, what a great job I did. And with that goes along with, what if you have never said or done anything wrong? What if there's no one to blame, not even yourself? what if everyone is in the play and the cast and they're all playing their roles and everyone gets a standing ovation? It's like, okay, now the play's over. Like, we don't have to do that anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to be the victim. You don't have to be the perpetrator. I don't have to be the aunt that picks on everybody's food at the dinner table. You don't have to be the brother that always talks politics and gets in a fight. You know what I mean? It's like, because we're not in our roles anymore, right? And we don't have to be that. We can actually choose to be ourselves and unmask, take all of our masks off that we've been wearing.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I mean, that's so resonant for me. That's my perspective as well, more or less. It's like it's a big game, and I find even the depths of despair, for myself anyway. I mean, depths of despair. If I actually just let the awareness come back in, I can even laugh at whatever's happening. I'm like, this is hilarious. What's going on? This is what a gas, right? So, and
Yeah.
I feel like people can experience that in almost any situation, potentially. Almost probably every situation. But yeah. So I think that can be so empowering. Yeah.
What if the pandemic, you know what I mean? What if what if all of this is part of the game that we're playing? Like, there's a season and a reason, and a lifetime for why we're here right now in the body on planet Earth, having this experience. Like, there's so many things that are happening that are just unheard of, that are brand new firsts for humanity, whether it be fires or a fire tornado or double hurricanes in the Gulf, a pandemic. Like, we've never not had to go to school, in like hundreds and hundreds of years. Do you know what I mean? Like, since school started, we've never been told to go home from work. Our works have never, but what if that was us asking? Like, when you step back and think about it, Daniel, and, everyone who's on here right now with us and listening, like, were you asking for more time?
Right.
Like, how many of us said, I wish I had more time with my family?
Yeah, or for that project or whatever it was, right?
Yeah. Yes, all of that. And guess what? You got your wish.
Exactly. I mean, often that's what's happening when we're complaining. It's like, actually you're getting your answered prayer, but a lot of times people can't see it. They're just upset about, like, this is happening or whatever, and then we get stuck with that. And so I think, this is a great tool. So for people that are, I mean, I love what you said about COVID. I mean, that's so true. I want to start getting into those 3 ways, though. So look, the 3 ways. Tell us about these 3 ways that, maybe people think their life's falling apart, but it's really falling into place, like we're talking about now. So tell us a little bit about those 3 ways that things really are falling into place. You're pointing into them, but I want to articulate them a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So if there's anyone on the call who would like to come on live with us, I can kind of use, your life, your situation, things that are showing up, things that are not showing up, thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Like, do they just unmute, Daniel, or do they?
Yeah,
they can do that?
They can either do that or go to the chat and just say that they want to talk. So yeah, they can do like Donna's doing and just wave and say, hey, I want to talk. Okay. Yeah, that'll be
beautiful.
Okay, so Donna, you want to share something?
So lay it on us.
What was the question? What did you want to know?
I love that. She's here. She's like, I'm just going to volunteer. I'll be first. What was the question again? What did I sign up for?
Right. I'm in, yes, whatever it is.
It's Susan. We're doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is happening in your life that may be a stumbling block? You feel as though you are, life is falling apart. Like, how do you perceive that? What words do you use?
So, I'm actually in the internal struggle of, I 100% believe what you all are saying and teaching, and my spirit and soul knows that to be 100% true. And in the physical evidence of what's happening in my life, in terms of just being out on my own, I went from working a job to being in my apartment by myself, trying to do everything online and getting completely overwhelmed. And just in the past 3 weeks, I've just been really shutting down like just watching TV for hours a day and not doing anything, and then chastising myself for that because I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're about to literally like go broke. Like, you gotta fucking like get working, you know? But there's another part of me that's like, these energies are so heavy right now, and I've got to do what I've got to do to just stay here, right? So it's that conflict of the spiritual and the physical, and sort of, you know, resolving that. And then also I'm noticing just in the past week or so that it's kind of triggering a lot of old trauma stuff.
Yes.
And so I'm like seeking, okay, how do I manage that? I have some basic things. I meditate, I go for walks, I connect with the trees, whatever, but I'm still really feeling and I'm very unsettled, and I shouldn't get caught up in this, I know, but I'm very unsettled that people don't see obvious things right now. Like, it's just like, I just want to run around slapping people in the face and be like, wake up! Like, how can you not see that? You know, and I know that I'm kind of like a person who's meant to be like that, you know, save the humanity crusader kind of person. So just witnessing some of this, I'm like, I literally said to a friend the other day, I think I'm in an alternative universe. Like, I don't think I'm actually here. I'm actually in another place. Anyway, there you go.
Isn't that cool, Donna? Like, these are my 2020. This is like 2020 vision before, 2020 vision after. These are my goals. So I get these on when I start facilitating. Yeah. So what if like it's D, all the above? Like, how many of us have been taught to figure it out?
Yeah.
Right. Like, and figure it out and get the right answer.
Yeah.
And make a good choice. Because if you don't, then you're got the wrong answer and you've made a bad choice.
Right.
You know, what if that's all part of the lie that we've been taught? You know, we actually haven't been taught to ask questions. So in looking for an awareness, our bodies are actually more aware than we are, because we have points of view and our bodies don't. So I have a 3-step process. Would you like to know what that is?
Sure.
Daniel, would you like me to share it with everyone?
Yeah, that'd be perfect. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so yes, it's muscle testing, but the 3 parts you haven't been taught is why it hasn't always worked for you and why you don't get consistent responses. So 1, you're going to ask for all the extra energies that are with you right now to move away from you in 500 trillion directions on 3. And all the extra energies are thoughts, feelings, and emotions, because 99% of the thoughts, feelings, and emotions we have like aren't actually ours.
Right.
Because we're a satellite dish, you know, and you wouldn't be here if you weren't consciously aware, and what we're speaking to you about like vibrationally resonates with either where you are or what you're looking to have in your life.
Right.
So all of you that are here are really exactly where you're supposed to be right now. Like, today is a day and now is a time. So you're going to ask all the extra energies to move away from you in 500 trillion directions down 3. You take a deep breath in and move them out. So let's do it together.
Okay.
Ready? So take a deep breath in. All the extra energies move away in 500 trillion directions on 3. 1, 2, 3. Breathe out. Yeah. And see, you have the body. And those other energies don't have a body. Right? They're just thoughts. They're just floating around out there. But they're molecules and they have consciousness. So they're impacting you in your field.
Yeah.
So the more that you are thinking, right? Because what happens is you get a thought in, Donna, and you said like you are chastising yourself, you judge yourself. So what happens is all of a sudden it's your thought. So you bought everyone else's thoughts as yours.
Right.
And then it's installed in your frequency, it's installed in your field, and it's running. So guess what is here on planet Earth? Like attracts like. So if you are in the frequency of lack, not enough, poverty consciousness, you know, less than, that's what you're going to attract to you.
Yeah.
So asking all those extra energies to move away from you is dual-fold. 1, it's going to allow you to be in the space, you're being with your body by yourselves. Your mind chatter disappears. This is great if you have difficulty getting to sleep at night and you'd like to just move everything away. You just ask it all to leave, 500 trillion directions on 3, you breathe, expand out. Number 2, ask your body to show you a yes. So many of us have been taught, if you're going to use the lock and key, that the lock is the yes and the unlock is a no. Or if you use your body to lean forward or back, that forward is a yes and back is a no. Actually, you are projecting onto your body, okay, that this is right and this is wrong. And this is the way this is, and that's not the way that's supposed to be. Allow your body, like, get connected back with your body and allow your body to contribute to you. So ask your body, okay, body, truth, show me a yes. And your body will do its own thing. Sometimes it'll go left and right. Sometimes it'll go swirling around to the left is a yes and swirling around to the right is a no. You know, each day it would like to have its own choice with its own session. So ask all the extra energies to move away, number 1. Number 2, ask your body to show you a yes and a no. And then number 3 is to, what is number 3? Wait a minute. Yeah. I don't know, I forgot.
Hey, that's what happens when we're connected in the divine download. Sometimes the mental aspect drops out. You're just a channel, Susan.
Yeah, it must not be that important. Okay, so 1, we ask extra energies. 2, we do the back and forth. And 3, I don't know. I think there's a 3. Or maybe this was, I don't know.
It's going to come back to you.
I'll get back to you on it.
So in the moment, it doesn't even matter.
Right? So, yeah, so actually it's like, so that is, so number 3 is to remember to do these 2 every time you're going to do the muscle test. Because just because it gives you a yes a certain way and a no doesn't always mean that that's the same thing it's going to choose every time.
Yeah.
So get connected back with the body and honor it, because we're actually taught to, like, separate from our body. You know, when it's, you know, yeah. Oh yeah, number 3. Okay, I got it. Number 3 is, like, when you ask a question, ask a question that's open-ended. So something that people, you know, sort of have is, like, they want it to be a yes or they want the answer to be a no. So they ask it with it already in mind. And so you're influencing what it is versus, okay, body, is if you have your list of things to do, say you have a to-do list. Okay, so truth, is this the most important piece of information for us to explore right now? Yes, no. Boom, no? Okay, cool. Is this, you know, and questions, open-ended questions like, is this, will this contribute to my life, my living, my being, my business? Another question to ask that's open-ended is, if this, and it's one specific thing, and it doesn't have to be yes or no, right or wrong. Will this contribute to me? Will this make me money? Is this what I've been asking for? Will this create greater than I ever expected?
You know, actually, that's so simple and super helpful and such a great reminder, because that's one of the things I've been finding is that I've been getting I'm like going like this because everything is online right now. So I see something that's like, oh, you know, learn this quick masterclass for free on how to do this, you know, on social media. Oh, okay, I'll do that. Okay, now, you know, and it's just all this like distraction. I realized, like, the other day, I'm like, God, I'm just letting myself get distracted and I'm falling down this like rabbit hole right now. So that's why I'm not getting anything accomplished, you know? So I love that reminder to go back to, like, okay, before I sign up for something or before I even look at it,
right,
pause for a minute and be like, okay, is this for my higher good right now? Is this in alignment with my purpose? Is this, that's a really good reminder. Thank you. Yeah. And then also to check in with my body, because that's very easy for me. Like, my body speaks to me very loudly. So, but like, to be mindful of doing that for each decision that I make or each choice that I make.
Yeah, because otherwise it's kind of like you're the round peg and you're trying to jam it in the square hole. It's like, oh, somebody told me I should do this. Oh, okay, well, I'm told I should do that. Like, you know, email list and how many emails and posts and likes and, you know, just all this kind of stuff. It's like way overwhelming. I'm like, what if it's just so much easier than like we ever expected?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Did that give you the support you were looking for?
Yeah, it was great. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Yeah, and it's the easy way, right? We want to make things as simple as possible, and that's the magic that we're that Susan's bringing to us today. Is just here. We just let it be simple. No wonder we get along so well, Susan. That's my philosophy. Okay, if you're struggling or making it, you're not making it. It's not simple enough. You're not letting it be simple and easy enough. That's how I look at it.
Right. Right. Yeah. It should be round peg, round hole, square peg, square hole. You know, it should be easy. Anytime you feel like resistance, you know, you're coming up against something, know that, you know, that's a clue. Okay. That's information that your body's giving you, like, hey, would you be willing to ask a question here? Because your body is aware that there's a different possibility that you're not willing to be aware of or acknowledge. And that's why our 2-year-olds are always asking us why. Because 2-year-olds are smarter than we are. We have a filter in place and they don't have that filter in place. And we come from obligation, responsibility, priority, right and wrong. You're supposed to, you have to, you must, you should, you ought to, all the masks we're wearing and roles that we're playing. 2-year-olds are like, well, how come I can't have ice cream first?
Right. Exactly.
Why can't I
I
wear
love
my
my kids for
Spider-Man
that.
outfit
Like
to
one of
church?
my kids are like that. And they're in their teens now, basically, and
Yeah.
they're asking a brilliant question. Well, I'd like to be like that still. I'm like, well, why not? You know, like, why can't we look at it a different way? And
Yeah.
sometimes we get chastised for that by other people. Like, what? But you're arguing again. Would you quit arguing? I'm like, I'm not arguing. I'm just curious. Like, can't we just play? You know, like look at different possibilities, right? So we just have to be we have to be willing to be ourselves and start not taking it so personally when people have an issue with the way we're being. You know, it's just triggering. I find a lot of times if you just stay with it and you're okay with the way however people react, that sometimes not you're looking for this, but like sometimes they all of a sudden they want to be in on it, even after they strongly resist it, right? All of a sudden they're
Yes.
like, no, I want to play too. No, it works so beautifully that way. So don't give up. Don't you know? Just know that they're dealing with something, whatever it is, and it's okay that they believe what they believe. I would say even Donna too. I know you said like, I can't believe people are thinking this way. Like a lot of people feel like right now, right? So it's like, I mean, but they do, and it's okay. We have to be okay. We have to be willing to be at peace with it. My philosophy. I mean, we have to just let. I get stirred up sometimes too, and it's like, oh well, I just feel into my heart my compassion for them, and I don't judge it. I don't even say that I'm right or they're wrong or whatever. I'm just like, okay, I just love you. I don't care. I just
Yeah,
go
like
back
this.
to that place.
Yeah, and today is the day and now's the time, because this stuff is supposed to be coming up. Like, you're supposed to
Yeah.
have old wounds come up. You're supposed to
Mhm.
re-experience the stuff that you haven't like completely processed or gone through. Like, absolutely. Because the universe, you know, with all of the dimensions and the ascension process that's, you know, taking place, and all of the, I mean, today's a super, super powerful, you know, 22 double master day, that, you know, this is, you know, a key time to take a look at, you know, like, what if everything you believed, right? What if everything you bought from everyone in your life actually was a lie? Like, would you be okay with that? Right? What if you were lied to, right? And what if you bought it as real, right, and relevant, and you sold it to other people, your kids, your friends, your family? You know, how many of us have learned things through science that they didn't know about, you know, umpteen years ago? I mean, just, you know, I mean, how many people are like, you know, shouldn't have sugar, too much salt, caffeine, red wine, chocolate, dark chocolate, no chocolate, Pluto's not a planet. You know, I mean, I could just keep going on with like, you know, everything that science, you know,
Yeah.
tells us and doesn't tell us, but we're not actually in the question. So being in the question is going to give you the awareness that you're all looking for.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like the best scientists are the ones that, no matter what the studies and the science showed, stay in the question. But is it really true? Let's take another look. Rather than everybody's saying everything's settled science on whatever it is, I don't care what the issue is. So we have to stay open, because what is much more the reality, in my opinion, okay, but is quantum physics, where you're observing and you're looking for it, you'll find it. It just shows up so clearly in quantum physics. But to me, it's the same in our so-called real world, right? It's the same.
Yes.
It's the same thing. I mean, that's my take anyway, Susan, is it's that way. Well, given that, I wanted to ask you, there's some fascinating things that I wanted to ask you about, because you talk about these 5 Ps. I wanted to just take a little time to get into that. So can you share with us your about these 5 Ps, because I have a feeling this is kind of cool and important.
Yeah, absolutely. So I sort of identified like 5 Ps on the planet, and they're biological beings, and we're all made of molecules, and every molecule has consciousness. And so that means that the food we eat, the clothes we wear, the technology we use, the words we say, is all conscious. So the 4 Ps are the people, the pets, the plants, the planet, and we have a plan. So our target is to connect with the non-judgmental fields. So it's the people who don't judge you, and when you're going to go on vacation, Daniel, and Kathy and Kevin and Donna and Ross and everybody who's in here with us, Caroline, Tina, and Carol as well. Do you say, oh, I'm going to go to the, inner city for vacation? I'm going to go hang out, at the local dump. No, you go to nature. You're going to go to the mountains. You're going to go to the beach. You're going to go to the water. You're going to go to the trees, the forests, the lakes. That is one place that does not judge you. And you and your body can have like infinite amount of receiving, versus when you're in your day-to-day routine with your family, like you're receiving tons of judgment and projections and expectations and calculations and conclusions that separate you from your body. So, having peace is a P word, being with the pets and the plants. Our pets don't judge us. They're right at the door every day. They're snuggling up with us, in bed. Like, they're letting us know when they need food, when they're hungry, when they'd like to go out. What if communication can be that easy? And what if we're willing to be aware way more than what we're aware of now? I've done a lot of research, and, when we became the top of the food chain, Daniel, we collapsed in on ourselves. Like, we used to have a much wider and further expanding area of awareness. We don't actually have that anymore. Like, there are people who aren't aware of even like the room that they're in, or past the car, the 4 corners of the car, or the house that they're in. And, what if you would be willing to recapture that, to expand out and have that awareness? Just imagine, what you'd be able to create with that isn't available to you right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's something that I was just talking about the other day, that came to me through someone else's post, and it ignited me to want to talk about it, is our ability to be aware of the full, even close to the full picture of life. I mean, my God, the spectrum we're tuned into is so minute compared to the full spectrum of life, that how can we possibly judge anything? I mean, what do we know? We don't know anything, but we can open our awareness. We can become aware of greater things, or whatever, however you want to put it, but we can open. And I think that's one of the things I find to be so liberating, is the direction is, rather than trying to close on our opinions, which so many people are doing right now, is to remember instead to keep opening. But we just don't trust it. We think we won't be protected. We get too open. You're gonna, get hurt. You're gonna do something stupid. But you actually are more safe. You're more protected. Like in the ways that people are concerned about. And so the more we can open, to me, and I know, like, I bring that up too, because I know that's a huge part of the work you do with people, is the continuing to open and awakeness and awareness, right?
Yes, dare to be aware.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So how can people expand? You've talked about some ways, but what are some other ways people can expand their awareness, so they can become more aware of more possibilities?
Yeah, asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
Asking questions will all anything else other than a question, actually is not a kindness to yourself. Asking a question empowers you, and because that's what you're looking for. We've been taught to find the answers. Well, you know, so things like when I would go shopping, and something would draw my attention to it, I'd be like, okay, so will you make me money? No. Okay, I'm not buying you. Next. You know what I mean? So I know Donna was saying, like, Susan, how many sparkly shirts do you have before we got on? I was like, well, I don't know, but I'm willing to ask, like, if this will contribute to me before I purchase it, whether it's a car, a house, food. Like, let's get conscious about our food. So we're taught that, you have to consume food, and, we've been lied to about, 3 meals a day, and breakfast is the most important one. And, you were given a picture of the bowl of cereal and the eggs and the juice and the milk that was blue and wasn't really milk because that was gray. And there's just all this stuff that we've been, told, and protein and how much, and this is the plate, and this is the size of the carbs, and your fist is the size of, oh my goodness, right? Like, everyone is telling us what's right for us, but every body is different. And
Right.
every body requires something different. So would you be willing to connect with your body and ask your body? Because see, what happens is and I'll give you some tips on how to do this, but when I before I even go to the refrigerator, my body said, okay, so I'd like some cranberry sauce. I'm like, okay, cool. Like I don't argue with my body. Like, okay, cranberry sauce. Like one day it said, we'll have an avocado, half an orange, and like 2 tablespoons of refried beans. I don't know, whatever it was, right? And I was like, okay, cool. So I would eat it, and it was so incredibly good. Like, you would never think that combination would be something that, you would put together on a plate and then have as a meal. But what happens is our body is aware of vitamins and minerals and elements that we are not consciously aware of, that it requires. So, the cravings that we get for like water, salt, and sugar. So water, salt, and sugar are 3 elements. They're earth elements. And our body requires those because it's processing energy. And I know so many of us are on the path to awakening that we are actually, like, our nerves are like rewiring themselves. Like, we're willing to not be in the same pattern. So we're going to create a new pattern of being, of feeling, of thinking, of seeing, of having awarenesses that we didn't have before. So all of this that we're processing through, like, actually requires maybe a lot more water, maybe a lot more salt, maybe a lot more sugar. And, all is soda. So the people have points of view about soda, and you saw the commercial when you battery and like it gets all the acid off it. I'm like, okay, what if my body actually requires this right now, right? What if this is a contribution? So I don't fight with my body about, oh, I can't have this and I have to have that. It gets what it would like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just had someone on around intuitive eating and everything. We had a similar kind of conversation about this sort of thing with the eating part. And one of the things I mentioned on that show too, I said, well, in Ayurvedic, they say everything can be medicine and depending, right? So
Yeah.
everything, literally, like you said, like your Coke, actually, that's not crazy. Some people are gonna, the first thing people say, oh yeah, whatever, Susan, you just want to drink a Coke. But like, and that's a judgment. But like, the truth is everything can be a medicine. I mean, I've seen people utilize Coke to clear kidney stones and all kinds. So everything can be a medicine. So we just have to be aware of really what deeper down inside in our body, what it's really asking for, and not to judge it and not restrict ourselves. And I feel like that's just a metaphor for life. It's the same thing with our life. Like, okay, don't restrict that you can't have this, you can't do that in life. Like, just be open and go with it, that sort of thing.
Right. And I bring this up a lot when you know, I speak with people, it's like, you know, scientists and doctors told us that the body could not run less than a 4-minute mile. Not happening. The heart would explode, the lungs would explode. Like, you would die if you broke the 4-minute mile, until Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile. And guess what? He didn't die. He didn't explode. It's like, so what if everything that you've been taught is a lie? Do you know what I mean? It's like, there's so many examples of this that, you know, with food, for instance. So we're taught that the way to get energy is by eating. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what have you eaten today? You haven't eaten anything today. Well, wait a minute. Right? So what if you were willing to receive other than consumption?
Yeah.
Right? And your body have to digest it. So you can receive energy, food, nutrients, by asking for it to show up with yourself and your body.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And then so unlimited possibilities, right? You're all about the limitless life. So let's talk about when people try to direct their thoughts and prayers and things like that, and specifically what they're wanting. And it's like they keep praying, they keep trying to will it to happen, and just like it seems like it's just not happening for them. What is that about? Because I feel like that connects with what I'm asking you your perspective. Like, how does that connect with what you just said? Because I feel like they do connect.
Yes. So, well, it's kind of a combination. So when we're looking to receive, right, what happens is, if we have a point of view about something, for instance, if you think something is right or wrong, that creates a wall, which is a barrier. So you're defending against something, or you're defending for something. And what happens is, when we have these walls, which are points of view about things, like this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. You know, those are just 4 examples, because this is polarity and it's duality and it's 3D planet Earth. We have a wall. And so what you're asking for actually can't get to you. Like, it's trying to come around the wall or over the top or dig underneath or come through. But you're so that this is what I believe. This is the truth. This is what I was taught. This is what our parents did. This is what their parents did. This is what the parents did before I did before that. And you know, what if all of that saved your life? What if all of that contributed to you? Like, all of those points of view, like, actually were valid, were real, were relevant at the time. However, now, 2020, right? August, you know, they're not required anymore, but they're still there. You still have that belief, you know, and we get them from, like, the Great Depression. You know, we have, you know, when the economy collapses, when there's, you know, death in the family, or there's illnesses, like, you know, the doctors, you know, go and find a test that will say that you are, you know, 89% likely to get whatever, you know, so take precautionary measures right now. And I'm like, that is all, you know, defending against, for and against things. So what happens is, we're going to drop all the walls. You know, take some time to work within and drop everything you believed. You know, would you be willing to be wrong? That's huge, Daniel. Some people, there is no way, they cannot be wrong. They can't have it. You know, it is so against everything that they were taught and everything they believe in. Well, because of that is a wall. They're defending against being wrong. Nothing else, or things that are trying to get, that you're asking for, like, can't actually get through into you. So dropping all the walls, be like, okay, cool, yeah, I'll be wrong. Well, like, what level of wrong? Right? Like, are you 100% in to being wrong? I know Kevin's laughing. Right? Like, you know, 20%, you know, 30%, like, how far are you willing to, like, drop the walls? So coming from, like, no point of view, and that's what I learned in Access Consciousness with Gary and Dane. No point of view means that anything can come in. Like, nothing's right, nothing's wrong, nothing's good, nothing's bad. It's like, okay, that's interesting. you know, like it's funny, like when our kids are having a tantrum, right? And I would turn to my son and be like, okay, so like, how long do you want to be mad? And he's like, all day, Mom. I'm going to be mad the whole day. I'm like, okay, you can have the whole day. You be mad. Get really mad. Like, how mad can you get? Like, stamp your feet, you know, throw yourself down on the carpet. I'm like, you can get madder than that. You know what I mean? Like, you just play, you just totally have allowance for them having the tantrum instead of trying to get them to stop and not and behave and all that kind of stuff. And then what happens is it's not a big deal anymore. And then they start to go, okay, well, I'd like to go outside, but oh no, wait a minute. You decided, you chose that you were going to be angry all day. So no, you can't go outside and play. No, you have to be angry. Because see, that would be fun. And that's the opposite of angry. Right? And it's so funny. So when someone comes at me with anger, right, I start laughing, right? And whether it's a post, and I think that's what we should all start doing. When people start posting about, I like this, I like that, and this is, I think we should all just start LOLing. Just LOL everything, you know, just laugh at everything. Be like, okay, cool. You know, like, you're right, I'm wrong. Like, would you be willing to be wrong? Be like, okay, cool. You know, it's not, we don't have to defend against anything, right? Because then we can receive everything. And that's what you'd really like to have. That's what we're praying for. And I know you use the word want. So I do have a little caveat about that, if now's a good time to kind of pop that in there.
Yeah. What is, tell us your caveat about the wanting thing. Yeah, that can be a sticky one for sure.
Yeah. So it has been, in working with clients and coaching, it has been like the top limitation, like, you know, 100%, like this is 120%, like really top limitation that people have that is so unconscious that even in the face of awareness, they are not able to change, choose, or institute a different possibility. So the word want, and you can go back and look this up. This is the research I talk about. The definition was changed in us in 1943, 44, you know, about that time. Do you remember the old dictionaries? Those of us that are old enough, and you would like look up the words and they'd have columns, you know, and each word would have like a definition. Well, the word want had like columns of definitions, and it was like lack, not enough, you know, less than, that kind of thing. Well, now, after 1943, you go in and you look at the definition and it'll say like desire, have, that kind of a thing. Well, that's not actually the true frequency of the word want. When you want something, you are in lack of it. And when you want something, that means you don't have it. So it's future. So if you're always wanting something, okay, you can never have it because it's always in your future. So the two words to switch up for that is I am and I have.
Yeah. Brilliant. I mean, that's so true. That's so true. When we say that's a great awakener, is for people to watch their patterns, because people say they want things all day long. I want the world to change. I want this. I want that. You know,
there was a huge campaign, Daniel. You know, what do you want for your birthday? What do you want to eat today? What do you want for breakfast? You know, what do you want to wear to bed? What do you want to wear for Halloween? What do you want for Christmas? You know, a want, it's one of those words that is like top limitation for people, because you can't have it.
Yeah. When you say you want, you've already created a separation. Absolutely. That is a great one. That's a great tool. That's not something you hear a lot of people talk about. So that's a really good one. So I really appreciate that. That's amazing. And if there's anybody else, because we're going to start wrapping things up pretty soon. If there's anybody else, Susan, if anybody else wanted to connect with you,
let me check the chat.
Yeah,
we have a chat in Zoom.
Yeah, we had a couple people.
Oh, great.
Yeah. We had
thank you, Maradona. Thank you.
Yeah, people loving the reminders and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, was there anybody else that wanted to ask Susan anything before we start wrapping up? Any other questions? Yes, Kevin. Let's unmute him.
I'm going to just a minute. I'm noted. Oh,
Gotcha.
okay. You can hear me now. Hi,
Yeah.
Susan.
Hi, Kevin.
That was great. That gave me a lot of confirmation. I made lots of notes and things. I love the way that you explain these things. I was taught them in a different manner, but how you explain them is another way of explaining what I've been taught by the practical side of it. So you're giving me the theory side of it, and it just really gives me all that confirmation. And I'm nodding, I'm happy, I'm smiling. It's just amazing to listen to someone else explain it in a way that it makes it easy to understand for people. So rather than the way I would do it. So it's very, very good. Yeah. So thank you very much. I do have to leave now. I've got another commitment, but I have enjoyed, and thank you, Daniel. I've enjoyed the questions and things that you've been giving to Susan, so it's been really good. But unfortunately, I've got to go to a restaurant and meet two friends and have something to eat.
Oh, darn.
What a terrible situation you're in.
I know, it's either stay and listen to you, Susan, or go to the restaurant and meet a couple of friends. So on this occasion, I've chosen to go to the restaurant and meet a couple of friends. So Sandy's just getting ready now.
And then ask your body what it would like to eat.
I'm going to do that. I like that. I'm going to do that.
Because we're the being. You know, we don't eat the food. We don't wear the clothes. We don't spend the money. Our body does. So let's connect with our body. And we don't have the sex. Our body has the sex.
Yeah, when I look at the menu, I'll ask my body what it wants to eat and see what comes out. I'm actually totally different. Because very often I choose what I think is healthy, not what I want, you know. So
right. See, there's that word want that comes
want again. There we are. You say want, yes. I found with want, the way I deal with it, I say, I have all that. I don't need any more. And I let go of it and allow the flow to come in. And you find that if you let go and you don't want it, then it flows in.
Because you already have it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You see, you say exactly what my understanding is, but I was taught it in a totally different way to you. I just love it. Anyway, I'll have to go. Thanks, Daniel. Honey. Thanks, Susan. And hi, I don't know whether Ross is still here, but hi, Ross. And hopefully we'll speak again soon.
Okay, honey. You
too.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Now, enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Land your spaceship carefully.
Great,
yeah.
Re-entry is...
We got a thank you here, too, from Tina.
Thank you.
And refreshing call. There was a question she has. Need your feedback on how to shift away from disturbing negative energies that have been attacking me and my family. No kidding, it's been spooky spiritual warfare. So can you help her with that, Susan?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi, Tina. Yeah, so there's some interesting contracts that you have from past lives. Yeah, blood oaths, contracts, swearings, and agreements that you and your family have, and it's time for those to get dissolved. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Can we do it? We can do it now if you think that's okay, Daniel.
Yeah.
Or we can go off.
How long would the process take? Yeah. How long would it be? Or
I don't know.
Is it approximate? Is it a few minutes or is it longer?
Yeah, let's go ahead and we can just start this. So okay. Tina, and then reach out to me after Tina and let me know the shifting and changing. So cool. So all of the oaths, vows, fealty, communities, blood oaths, promises, contracts, swearings, and agreements that you and your family have with any other energies at any, and we're going to take it through all time, space, place, dimensions, realities, universes, non-universes, illusionary universes, holographic universes. Yeah, everything that's been known and unknown to you, everything that's been said and unsaid to you, and everything that you're willing to acknowledge, and even the smallest things you're not willing to acknowledge as well. Would you be willing to rescind, revoke, recant, reclaim, renounce, destroy, and uncreate those? And I'm just going to assume you said yes, because you're muted. Take a deep breath in and out on 3. And when you breathe out, you're going to expand out. 1, 2, 3. So would you be willing to be the most powerful and potent being in your reality all times, now and forever? I'm going to assume you say yes. So anything that does not align and agree and resist and react with that for you, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it? I'll assume you said yes. Take a deep breath in And out on 3, 1, 2, 3. Drop 4 pillars of light. Yeah. Around your home, around your car. Yes. And connecting all of those up to create a dodecahedron. A dodecahedron is the original molecule. It's called infinite intelligence. It was the God and Christ consciousness when the universe was first created. And anything and everything, right, that all these energies chose to be or do from that point forward, now they get to cross back over, get back to from whence they came, originally to that point before they chose to be or do anything. And anything that doesn't allow that, let's destroy it and create it. Take a deep breath in. Out on 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Nice. Cool. So let me know how that works, what comes up, what leaves, what disappears. Yeah, nice.
Awesome. Well, that felt really amazing. You know, when
They
I had
like a different possibility. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're bound to this kind of a thing. Like it's their job. That's what they're supposed to do, is like torment us, right? Like they feed off that kind of stuff. So, you know, what if we're grateful for that? Like, okay, cool. Like, thank you for all of that, because that's information for us. And, you know, your job's done. Like, you did a good job. Thanks. You know, you scared the heck out of us.
Since she was in the bathtub, had to hop out to answer.
Okay.
That's funny. Got some things clear. Okay, cool. Awesome.
I got some things there. Okay, yeah. Awesome. Nice. Tina, cool. So keep me posted. Let me know, and I can pop back in and take a look at what else is kind of, but enjoy your bathtub.
So, yeah, so this is a time when we probably want to start wrapping things up. Unless
Sure.
there's anybody else that has a kind of a quicker burning question or wants to share something real briefly, we'll give a second for that. Okay. I don't see anything going on with that yet. So, but yeah, just Susan, I know you, in a moment, we're going to start wrapping things up. Are there any last thoughts you want to share with everybody before we start to close?
Well, I would, you know, just know that you've done nothing wrong. You know, you've never said or done anything wrong. That, you know, you've played your part, they've played their part. You're now in this nanosecond able to choose a different possibility, because you have the awareness that you don't have to continue. You can make a different choice, and then choose what works for you. People say, well, how do I know what to do? I'm like, well, what would be fun? You know, what if that's what being in a body on planet Earth right now is like supposed to be all about? What if it's not supposed to be like issues and challenges and traumas and dramas? And like, what if you did all that? What if now it's time for the rest of your time, space, place here on planet Earth, like, is to just have fun? You know, like, how much fun you have? I think that would be like the biggest thing to just contribute, you know, to people when things aren't going so well, you know, in their life. It's like, hey, if it's not fun, my son and I, we've been doing that for the longest time. Like, are you having any fun? He's like, yeah, not really. I go, then we better fix it. So we would and we call it a fun factor, you know, like, would this be a fun factor of 3 or 4? Because I'm about a 6. I'm like, oh, okay. I like in a little bit, we're going to need to like jack it up.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing with all the sense of like, oh my God, all these things happening, you know, my life
Yeah.
or the world or what have you. A lot of times we don't consider a possibility of having fun. How dare you have fun, you know? You know,
Get
on many
serious.
levels. Yeah, and a lot of labels, right? You're too much white privilege. You're too much this. You're too
Yes.
whatever, you know, right? And I feel like it is. It's like it's an opportunity of huge growth for us to be able to really just begin to be able to let all of that go. You know, like to let that be so in our face so that we can let it all go.
Yes.
That we get that deep, truer like breath and love and light and laughter coming through. that no matter what's happening, you're still joyful and connected. Like one of the things I like to share, Susan, I'll share this briefly, is I always talk about with the Grinch, right? At the end,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
he took all the presents, he's a destroyer Christmas. I've got it all. And like, what did they come? What they do? The down in Whoville or whatever, they came out, and they sang, and they were joyous, and they're happy. They didn't care. It's like whatever. We're happier, maybe even. Like it doesn't matter, and they're having a
yeah.
good time anyway. And I think that's the indomitable spirit that we're really being called into. Is that spirit, no matter what stories are thrown at us, what's going on, that we can still have that levity, that lightness, that love, that joy flowing through us, because that will create the world and the life that we really want anyway. So,
Yeah, they didn't throw him in jail for stealing everything. They let him
right,
cut the roast beast.
exactly. Like, he got, they
They
treated him even
honored him.
better.
Right. Like, what if that is, a great invitation for us to have that possibility, to be
Yes,
there, to be
yes.
space and consciousness of that, right?
Yes, and Susan, this is what you bring in this lightness for everyone, and you create these possibilities for people through what you do. And so I know you had something you wanted to share with people if they wanted to connect with you beyond the show. Do you want to tell them
Yeah,
about that now?
absolutely. So there's two places. One is we have a Facebook group called Your High Vibe Tribe. And it's your tribe, and we have conscious conversations every week. We go live on Fridays, live streaming, and we have a group of people that co-host it all together, and we just have conscious conversations about what matters most to you. And that's where we like shake loose humanity's insanities. And we're about to go live. It's Fridays at 5 Eastern time. So I'll be popping off here and popping over there. But if you would like to reach out and connect with me individually, I have a free 15. And I think you have the link, Daniel, and we might be
Yeah,
able to
I'm
put
put it
it
in
up,
right now. Yeah.
put it in the chat. And then we'll also have it in the post when we post this as well. So book that with me. Let's have a chat. Let's talk about, Kathy, I saw you're on my list, so I'm excited to connect with you. Yeah, and let's chat about what's not working for you, what is working for you, and how I can support you in shifting and uplifting. And what if today is the day and now is the time? Choose for you.
Yes, yes, yes. So grateful for you. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to share something about you real quickly. I like to
Yeah,
tune in with my guests and just share something that I'm tuning into, and I want to share and love you guys. So is that okay if I do that real quick?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. So I just want to just remind you more than I feel like I'm reminding everybody really, but the depth of connection you have with source is just huge. Like if I just look like from a crown aura perspective, like crown chakra and aura, like you have huge energy, and even the cool thing is there's even more that wants to keep digesting through your body and your energy and your deeper energy. And so that's it, the party's just getting started for you. There's more and more. The more that the lower density that we, so many of us all carry, right? But like the more that lower density stuff is continues to clear, even though it lightened so much over the years, the more and more, man, the play and the expansion, it's just unlimited, right? And I feel more of that coming in for you. And yeah, it's so freeing. I really feel that sacral chakra turning on, with that energy too. And just really just that nonstop fun you already are bringing, but I just see more of a depth wanting to come in with it. And yeah, I just feel like, yeah, the more you can just help people understand just how simple and easy it is, like we're just so grateful for the frequency they bring for that. So thank you. Yeah. So I just want to acknowledge you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So is there anyone there hanging out? It's got some messages for me?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Yeah. Well, I get Archangel Michael. I just get, just.
Senor Miguel.
Yeah, so I get to know. So I'm getting like, he's like, just keep like understanding like how much you just really just know that you know that you know. Like I get like a sense of like a strengthening of that. And also there's a sense of grounding coming through Archangel Michael right now in your field, because you can get ungrounded, right? So because you get boundless and you go this way, that way. So he's bringing in a grounding cord.
I gotta tell you. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So my son and I will be in the car, right? And we're driving along. He'd be like, Mom? I'm like, yeah. He's like, would you get back in your body, please?
We're driving.
You're driving the car and you're making me nervous. And I'm just like, oh, I left for a little bit, you know? It's like, Mom,
yeah.
would you get back in your body, please? Like, it's required to drive a car on planet Earth for you to be in your body.
You're traveling. I mean, you're a cosmic traveler. You're going all over the place. So
Yeah.
you know, you do have to practice sometimes, you know, or not, but you know, it can be helpful to practice being more centered in your body more consistently, you know, as a practice, and just cultivating the groundedness more as another place of growth in your energy.
Right.
So just letting the grounding come in more, and it's just a very just an awareness, right? For you, it can be just like an awareness. Okay, I'm grounded. Yeah, like so yeah, definitely that will help you. It'll help you in different ways, and to be able to, you know, move through and pierce through situations even faster. So that's what like just like right to the thing that wants to happen for the highest can happen faster when you're grounded, is what comes to me. Yeah. So
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah.
Wow. We've got to do this again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do that. So we'll definitely will. And I just want to let people know, just so they're aware, that if you want to check out more about what I do, go to yoursacredpurpose.com. I've got a meditate to make money meditation there that opens your energy up, and you can ask your guidance questions, right? It's the keys to the questions. It really works to help people have more abundance and money into their life. And there's opportunities to get some scanning from me and things like that too. So check that out at yoursacredpurpose.com, and definitely take the free 15 is a no-brainer with Susan here. So you can be nothing but absolutely transform and blessed being around Susan.
Thank you so much, Daniel. It has been such an honor and a privilege to be with you. And I know you and I have been emailing and messaging back and forth. We're like, yeah, whatever. It's just going to happen. It's all going to come together. We're just doing it. You know, we're putting it out there. Okay.
Great. Exactly. Just having fun. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. It's a blast. So great. So grateful for you, and so grateful for everyone that took the time to listen in today, and to be alive, especially people are able to do that.
Thank you.
And chose to do that. So I'm so grateful for all of you, and wish you all the best. And just like I always say, keep on tuning in. We'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Okay. Till the next time, everybody. Bye, everybody. Bye for now. You're listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.